Got a first ride of 2020 going here. So it's been a year now since I've gotten my motorcycle endorsement, and I figured I'd do a vlog now that I'm back on the road after my first year, just to sort of do some general musings and thoughts about the MSF course, which I took last year to get my endorsement. So I'm not going to go into detail about the different activities that they have you go through. There's hundreds of videos on YouTube, and some people even strap a GoPro to their helmet and take you through the course. This is really just my thoughts on the whole process. You know, so first of all, the first thing I was really surprised at is the amount of exams and paperwork and forms and stuff you need to fill out. I signed up to take my course with the Big Apple Motorcycle School that's out here in Long Island, New York. Shout out to them. They're not endorsing me at all, just calling it out. And you know, the way they structure it is you got to do 5 hours online learning at home, and after each module you take online, you got to pass a course, pass an exam rather, and then you get 1 day classroom setting, and at the end of that classroom you got to take an exam, and then you get 2 days of practical riding. So, you know, my initial thoughts when I first got to the classroom was it was a typical, like, it was 12 people. It was, out of the 12 people, 2 of them were girls, which was cool. It's cool to see that there was 2 ladies looking to ride, and then everybody else was sort of these 20-something-year-old typical kids, you know. And you know, they might as well have called me Pops. I'm the only 40-something-year-old in the whole classroom. I'll call it a middle-age crisis. I decided at 45 that I wanted to get my motorcycle endorsement, which is fine. But you know, these guys showed up, and when the instructor asked, anybody have any riding experience, every single hand went up, even the 2 ladies. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't think you needed any prior experience, which you don't for the BRC. That's the basic rider course that exempts you from taking the road test with the DMV. And then they asked again, anybody have a motorcycle permit? Boom, every hand goes up but mine. So here I'm thinking, wow, I'm at a major disadvantage here. I've never rode before. I don't have my permit. I'm fresh off the street. How's this going to play out? So I was already a little bit apprehensive and kind of nervous about the whole situation. Like, oh boy, I'm the underdog here, but that's fine. You know, they say pressure makes a diamond. So, in fact, one of the guys came in full motorcycle gear, had his helmet, gloves, motorcycle jacket. Turns out he had a Honda Grom. He lived in the next town over, about 15 minutes away, and rode his motorcycle there basically illegally. I mean, I guess he had his permit, but he wasn't licensed to ride alone. But that's fine. So then beyond that, we get to the first day of riding. And to my surprise, even though these people had prior experience riding, there was a lot of mistakes that were being made. And who am I to judge mistakes? I mean, just really bad habits, not good fundamentals. So clearly it's like, oh, your boy or your friend taught you how to ride. Whether it's the right way or the wrong way is irrelevant to them. They just wanted to get out and ride. So I felt a little bit better. I mean, a couple of people, you know, they dropped the bike. It's crazy stuff. Not that I was rooting for anybody to mess up, but you know, that first exercise they get everybody to do is the power walk, you know, where you're learning the friction zone. And right out of the gate, the dude who had the Grom, and by the way, the bikes for the class were like these old Suzukis, man. I swear they looked like they were from the 80s or the 90s. They were small. They were probably 300cc, but they had 2 Honda Groms, which was really for the ladies. But the guy who owned the Grom decided he was going to be bullish and take one of the Groms because he was used to it, and this way he would guarantee his passing. Fine. That first exercise, we were supposed to be power walking back and forth. He pops a nooner. He pops a wheelie intentionally, and the instructors kind of put a stop to that immediately, saying, hey, listen, you got to follow the rules of the class here, or you're out. We're not going to stand for this. So that kind of calmed them down. But still, it's like intimidating if you never rode before. It's supposed to be a beginner rider course, and the guy right out of the gate pops a wheelie. But, you know, again, that's typical 20-something for you. But part of this conversation and this whole story here is to really say, don't judge a book by its cover. In that, even though these guys were 20-something-year-olds, you know, that first day, everything went perfect. I felt really good. I was getting all the basic exercises down, which is fine. But the second day, I had to do the box exercise, which anybody knows that the box exercise is that really tough exercise where you're basically doing like a figure eight and in a really confined, tight space. And I kind of messed up, along with a lot of other people. Some people dropped the bikes. I mean, craziness. But it was getting to me. I was really kind of getting down on myself, and then I just started spiraling out of control and making mistakes everywhere. And you know, these 20-something-year-olds that I was kind of judging as punks, all of them started kind of like rooting me on, like, come on, and you got this, and, you know, shaking my shoulders, and, you know, don't be afraid, you got it, you got it. And I was really, like, pleasantly surprised at that. So, you know, I will say that if you take the BRC course, or you take a motorcycle class, like, try to get some camaraderie with the guys around you, and gals. It really made the difference, because I was kind of taking myself mentally out of that game, and these guys were pulling me back in, and I really appreciated that. In fact, after the course, we all exchanged numbers and, you know, wanted to go out for drinks and do a group ride. So, you know, just some general musings on the whole thing. I mean, one last note I will make. A lot of people online I was reading say that, you know, take the MSF BRC course, it's a cheat. You can't fail it, it's impossible. And I have to say that that is an absolute lie. They were legit testing you like it was a road test, and they legit failed 4 people. So I watched 4 people fail, so I'm not believing that whole nobody can fail and the test is a cheat. You had to pass that exam, you had to pass the rider test, and it was legit. So I know that when I left there, if I passed, they endorsed me, I was good to hit the road. And I'll never forget one of the last comments that the head instructor said is, he said, you know what, for the past 10 hours you've been with me, but the next 10 hours are the most dangerous ones of your life. Meaning, once I unleash you onto the road, you guys got to be careful, you're kind of on your own. And I really respected that. That kind of resonated with me. So just something to keep in mind about the MSF course, something to keep in mind about riding, and especially for me as a new rider in my 40s, having never rode a stick shift or any of that stuff, it was kind of an interesting experience. Anyway, I think I'm going to hush up now, and we'll just enjoy some of the scenery for the ride and go from there.